How do you feel today, Bobby?
I feel good, man. I feel real good. I feel better than I do normally on this day. You got me all jacked up.
Monday's better, isn't it?
It is better because you know what, man? I don't feel pressure. I hate posting on Thursdays. Like, hate it with a passion.
Yeah.
And,
sorry about that, Bobby.
So, you decide, you're going to go teach your kid how to swim. Like, there's any place to swim in Canada. It's like everything's frozen over. Come on, stop.
That's true. That's why we have to go indoors. It's very strange. We have to use an indoor pool.
So you're talking to somebody like, I don't know what they're talking about over here. Like,
yeah.
Get out of here with that nonsense. All right. Okay, so I am recording, and I'm doing everything I need to do. So whenever
you have the right skin?
Yeah.
Are we doing the right show?
It's the right show this week. We're good to go. It's the right show.
I guess I could pop on over to
Hey,
okay. Guy. Oh, look at that. People can see this. Oh, my. Bobby, like, you can tell me at least, like, the camera is all...
It's always jacked up. I'm just used to it now.
I know. Well, you should do some adjustment now. Now I'm ruining everything.
You're messing everything up. You should just left it alone.
God. It's all bad. Okay, here we go. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
I didn't...
What? Oh, now you're like up over the damn thing, man. Now you're like forehead. Hold on. Just lead...
Okay. There we go. What's up, JD?
Oh my God, dude, you're like...
Listen.
What's wrong with you? Get it?
I don't know what do you...
Hold on.
What? How have you got me cropped over there? Like, why am I so close?
Hold on. Let me see if I can shrink it. Okay. There we go. Is that a little better? Okay.
I don't know. I'm going to have to wait and see.
That's a little better. That's better. Hold on. Let me just bring this down just a smidge.
Thank you.
There we go.
Help I can get. Thank you. That's what I've been saying.
Now you're back to looking pretty. Now you're back to looking pretty.
That's better. It was just like...
Yeah, we're good.
All right, ready?
Hold on. Just making sure. Okay. Go ahead. You're good.
Hey everyone, it's me, Sean Capri. This is If We Ran Nintendo, and we are live on youtube.com/Nintendo Guru, all because of the patrons, Bobby. Did you know that it's because of the patrons over at patreon.com//make us better? In particular, Bobby, I want to tell you about a couple amazing patrons. They are executive. They have suits and ties. They're executive producers. Nick from Next Level Games, Joel Brooks, James Johnson, Dr. Doom, Sheldon Benedict, Jesse Armstrong, Glauco Schaffer, David Ray, Joe Hehir, and Mike Drummie. And our newest patron, I don't know if this is a first name or last name or a Madonna type of thing, Fluxtaposed.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, guys.
Fluxy.
Love you.
Okay.
Go live. Let's do it live.
What I said, are you ready?
Can't do it. We'll do it live. We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Bow to the masters. Break it down.
If we ran Nintendo. If we ran Nintendo. If we ran Nintendo.
What is up, everybody, and welcome to episode 80 of If We Ran Nintendo. I am Bobby, the Nintendo Guru, joined by the greatest co-host in all of podcasting, Sean Capri. What is up, Sean?
What is up, Bobby? I have a little toy today.
There's a shocker.
And just so that you know, I have it on my second screen over here. You guys, you're right over here, and I got a special little Kirby game over off to the side.
We don't need to worry about that right now.
Kirby is my best friend.
Yeah, okay.
He is such a best friend.
Yeah, okay.
He's pink and cool.
Oh, Lord. You and Toby. You and Toby with that nonsense. So what's up, man?
Hi, how are you? How are you doing, man?
I'm good.
We need, on this Monday, we need some entertainment. I basically took the day off from tweeting. Like, why? I replied to a couple people. I just don't like... I feel like I should have been pushing out We the Gamercast this morning, and just in the wake of everything that happened last night with Las Vegas, and just stuff. I am thousands of miles away. I have no say in the matter. I don't know what the solution is, but I just felt like this morning pushing out podcasts and saying like, hey, everybody, check out my stuff. Just what didn't feel right. I didn't want to do that. It just sucks, man. I don't know if anybody knows anybody who's been affected. feel bad.
Yeah.
And that's all. So now, end of the day, we've got a diet soda. We'll try and pick it up. And if anybody's having a rough day, then let's just pick ourselves up. That's what we're here for. You know what I mean?
I got you. I feel you.
Yeah, that's all.
I'm
Major League Splatoon t-shirt on, Bobby.
Yes, my Major League Splatoon shirt.
You looking good.
Django Snow at tpublic.com. Go check him out, please. He does some amazing work. Sean, I can't really say what it is, but something pretty awesome has been happening lately, and I can beat around the bush. I can say it. I just can't say specifically what it is. Okay. But today, I get an email from a game developer, one we don't know,
saying, "Would you like to add a few inches to your manhood?" Oh, we got a different email.
Would you stop it? So it was it's a game developer asking me if I wanted to review a game, giving me early access, giving me press kits and all this stuff, and I was just like floored. Like, I never reached out to this person at all. I don't know who I didn't know who they were, none of that. Now I've done some research. I know who they are. They gave me a couple codes. I gave them the code. Yeah, they gave me some game codes on Steam because the game is coming to Switch, but it's not ready to go to Switch just yet. So they gave me some Steam codes so we can try it and play it and all that stuff. So I gave a code to Toby. He's going to record some game footage tomorrow. The game isn't even announced on Switch yet. That's how awesome this is. It doesn't even announce till Thursday.
Why did you tell me about this?
I'm telling you now.
Well, message me because I can't know exactly. Like, I know as much as everybody else.
Well, that's why I wanted to save it for now, man. I wanted to let you in on the secret in front of everybody. So it's so humbling, seriously, because without the amazing people that are in the chat now, all the people that watch and listen and like have been subscribing to the channel, like none of this happens at all, and that does not fall like on me in the terms of like I don't get that. Like, I totally get that. But it's just awesome to be like finally seeing all the hard work starting to pay off. Like, all.
And you weren't asking for a lot. Like, this isn't like paying the mortgage or anything. No. It's just like, a couple codes thrown your way, and it's like, that's really rewarding.
It is. I
dig that, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, so I'm happy about it. I'm really happy about it. So
I can't wait to find out what this is.
Yeah, me too. I know, but I can't say. But if you want to help, because I want to do a review, you know what I mean? So if you're interested in helping, I can hook you up.
Let's talk about it, man, for sure.
So afterwards we'll talk about it, and I'll explain some stuff to you.
The PR team from Stardew Valley was saying if anybody wants codes for Stardew Valley on the Switch, like, hit me up. And yeah, I retweeted it if anybody wants to go check that out.
Did they really?
Yeah, man, I told you to check out my retweet.
I didn't even see it. When did you say that?
Yeah. I said it earlier today. It's like Molly at whatever the company, something Jugglefish or
Chucklefish. It's all right. I can wait till Thursday. I'll get it Thursday. I ain't worried about it. It is what it is. A game like that is, I don't know how to.
How do you review it?
Yeah, like, it's so massive, so much to do. It's like it'd be like somebody give me Animal Crossing for the first time. I'd never played it before. I'm like, here, go review this. And
review it in 4 and have it done in 4 days.
Yeah, there's no way. It's impossible, man. You need you need a long period of time to review a game like that. So
that's true. And that's the thing is, like, if you've played it before, like, I played it on my laptop for a little while, and I remember thinking the only reason I even put that amount of time into it was because it was on my laptop and I could kind of like bring it around. And I feel like Chelsea was out of town for a couple days, and I put in like an abnormal amount of time into that PC game and thinking, I can't wait for this to be on the Switch. Yeah. Like, this game will actually be better because of the console that it's on. And that's like such a cool thing for Nintendo to have, because usually you just look at like power for the best place to play a game usually relates to like how many frames per second the thing pushes out. But Nintendo just changes that narrative completely with the better place to play is on the toilet. We all know. You know what I mean?
The amazing thing here though is that we're getting multiplayer for the first time on this game, and it's exclusive, and it's coming first
in
to
addition
the Switch.
To
So that's just amazing. So Sean, let's kick this episode off like we do each and every episode with our shout outs.
Mother loving geek outs. Yes.
And before
I'll tell you what I'm geeking out about, Bobby. I will tell you.
We're not talking about geeking out just yet.
I'll give a shout out. I'll give a shout out to myself.
What are you
I'm giving
doing?
a shout out to me.
Calm
Take it
down.
over, Bobby. I'm
Relax. Relax.
Yeah,
I
now
want
you know what it's like for me to host an E3 thing with you on the thing. Okay, shout out to me
I don't talk to
for
an E3 thing.
making
You and
the
Dave Moore just run your
Splatfest
jaws.
happening. I am taking full credit
Oh my
for the
God.
upcoming toilet paper front roll, back roll. It's happening because of me and not you. You had all those brilliant ideas that you thought were just the ones. And I said, not only was it one of my things, but I said, Bobby, I got one to end the entire discussion. It's my knockout punch, toilet paper. And you laughed at me. And here we are. We're going to find out once and for all. I have a real bad feeling the way this is going to go, by the way. But we're going to find out once and for all who the monsters are and who the civilized.
Just amazing we're using toilet paper and Splatfest in the same, term.
Yeah, because I want to know about the splat poop.
Anyway, I want to give a quick shout out to the chat that's here now, the live chat. Brandman, Jonathan Brown, Hoshway Ponce, Aaron Daughtry, Brendan Myers, JD. Who else we got here? We got The Gamer, what is up? Ryboflavins, my boy, what is up? Jesse Sackin, how are you doing? So all you guys that have showed up for the chat, Brendan Myers, I don't know if I mentioned you, but for all you guys that showed up in the chat, thank you for coming to the live chat and hanging out with us and doing all this good stuff. And anybody else that I missed, there we go. So now we're going to get into...
The reason why you want to get that out of the way, Bobby, is there a particular...
I just didn't want to miss anybody. I had to scroll up in the chat.
But we talked about something, about this whole, the show, we go off the rails a little bit.
Yeah, we're going to kind of like we appreciate the chat, but me personally, I felt like the show kind of got a little lost in its way, and I feel like we want to get it back to the basics, and the basics is the idea of Make Us Better was to make us better, and to get us, the live shows were supposed to be something fun, and the idea is like we're not going to really focus on the chat during the show. Once the show's done, we're going to hang with you guys for, our typical 10, 15, 20 minutes and just talk to you guys and all that stuff. We still want you to leave comments and post, because if there's something really poignant, we'll pull that out. But we're not just going to, like, every single comment, like, basically talk, because I feel like it messes the flow up. I actually have found myself ignoring Sean and reading the chat. And that's not good. That's not good. A good show. So I want to get it back to the basics and such like that. So this was the number one podcast that I did, and I don't feel like it's kind of taking a hit. And I don't want Toby to have the number one podcast. It's
definitely my fault. It's definitely
no. It's all me. Trust me. I can point the finger and totally go with me.
Now the thing is, with the Nintendo PlayStation podcast, you have experts in both Nintendo and PlayStation. With the complete Nintendo show, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
There is an idea.
This is the first time I played Link to the Past. I don't know, man.
This is an idea that we could cancel this show, right? Yep. And then
we have to get to 100 first.
Well, no. But here's the idea: we could cancel this show, right? And we could stop doing If We Ran Nintendo. Nobody would be upset about that, would they? I don't think anybody would be upset. So we cancel If We Ran Nintendo, right? Okay. This way, I could get back to doing 2 shows rather than 3 shows, and.
You say this is a joke, but I feel like there's some truth in here, Bobby. And we could
move you over to the Nintendo PlayStation Xbox podcast or the Gaming Gurus. Amanda, I have to point out Amanda. I used to work with Amanda, and she's asking
Bobby. I think maybe we should talk about this.
About what? About what I just said?
About that idea. I kind of don't hate that. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know.
The question is would the people be upset?
What does community have to say about that?
The community has to tell us if it's okay or not, and then we couldn't take that show live. I mean, I guess we could, but I don't know that we could take it live.
Yeah, man.
Because of the fact of, like, Toby's in the UK, in Europe, in England, and he just totally is a waste.
What does that have to do with anything?
It's too early, man. These people don't want to get up. Although Aaron Daughtry and Joe Craddock, they would love it because they're over there too in France, so they would love it.
You confuse the heck out of me with that stuff, man. I'm like, who's in France?
Let me give you a little backstory. The English and the French don't get along. They don't like each other. So when you call an Englishman a Frenchman, they get a little perturbed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like me calling you an American. You would be upset. See, look at look what he just did. Look at what he just did. He just put wow, France. Like they get a little. Yeah. It's just a ruffle the feather. I like to ruffle the feather. Like, and he's not, and I'm not English. I think you're Irish, right? Same thing. It's all the same thing. You guys are all together. Like whatever, man.
I think closer is if you said I was from Quebec.
Okay. Because they're French, right?
It's not necessarily the French thing. It's just my perception is that if you visit Quebec, you're not treated very nicely because you're not from Quebec. Yeah. And that's not cool. That's not the Canadian way.
Yeah.
We love everybody.
So let's we need to do a couple shout outs here before we move on.
Well, be my guest. Be my guest.
Joel Brooks, I just want to let you know we have moved the show to back to Mondays where it originally
Joel Brooks.
was. So we're sorry that it moved
my fault.
Or whatever. So okay. So the idea is this. Let's think of I got to think of a good shout out. Do you have a shout out?
I got a shout out.
Who's your shout out to?
I want to give a big old happy 40th birthday to our good friend
Jerry?
John, not Jerry, Bobby. His name is John Wahl. I want to give a happy birthday to
I thought it was
John
Jerry,
Wahl.
My bad.
Here's the thing, man. And if anybody hasn't checked out Megadads, you definitely should. It's my one reminder of how quickly time is flying by. Like with weekly podcasts, it's like you don't even really get a sense, but it's like, I thought I just listened to September's episode. Oh crap, it's October. Like this is happening. So Adam had reached out to a bunch of us to say, John's turning the big 4-0. Yeah. Let's pretend like he's dying. And we're all going to have like in memory of messages to play at the start of the thing, which I thought was like, I was one of the last ones to submit because I'm just like, that's really mean. It's really,
but really listen, the Megadads, I love their sense of humor, man. It's wonderful.
All right, so I finally come up with a little something. I put it in there, and then see that like I was of the tame ones. Like people are going after you. Pretend not to even know him.
I know that was awesome.
Antonio Guillen's haiku had me actually.
You know what? The reason why I do that is this. Okay, so there's this thing that we did last year. This time, it was the whole Mega Dads, Nintendo Dads, We the Nerdy. All that stuff. Like we all started doing these WWE style promos for what's the thing we did? Oh my god,
Extra Life.
Extra Life. That's right. So it was for Extra Life, and we're all like kind of competing, talking trash to each other. Who's going to earn the most money and all that? By the way, just so we know, Sean Capri did it. Yeah. Nintendo Dads, lay down, Nintendo Dads. Just lay down. All you guys.
I retire, by the way. Yeah. You guys can all get it right your second time. I'm just like one and done, baby. What's up?
I'm going to try to do it this year, I think. I think I'm going to give it a shot. But anyway.
I think I'm going to like jump into other people's I'm going to jump in with who everybody streams. I'm going to see if I can maybe like make some guest appearances. I think that'd be fun.
So,
I can't do 24.
So the thing is I'm doing this thing, right? And I everybody was taking on characters. And it started with the Megadads. The Megadads did it first. And then everybody started grabbing these like wrestling characters. Like Andrew Semicek from We the Nerdy, he did The Undertaker, and then I come out and I do The Rock. Or I do Stone Cold. Stone Cold. You did The Rock, didn't you?
Yeah. A little bit of The Rock. You did Stone Cold to the max.
Yeah. But I had my green screen, so I had the crowd behind me, and every time I said something, I had the mic. I had the crowd say what, and I go in and I start naming different I'm like the Nintendo Dads, the Mega Dads. And I go, I think I said like Alex and whatever, but I called him the wrong name.
Yeah.
And you were like, oh, that was great. You did that. You know, I did it by mistake. Like, I really didn't know their names.
You thought it was his name.
I thought that was their names. Whatever I said back then. I can't remember what I said back then. And then you were like, and I was like, I just played it off like, yeah. And now I can say, like, I really screwed up. And I just messed up the names. Oh, so it was amazing. Like, whatever, you know what I mean? That. Yeah, so it's so now it's kind of like my thing. Every time Adam asks me to do something, I always act like I don't know who they are, and it's really just you know. But this week,
that's even more hurtful.
Yeah, this week was funny though because this week I was like, I'm just sitting in front of the computer. I'm like, what can I do? I'm like, I got it, and I just key up the camera, and I'm like, I just start acting like I don't know who he is. I'm calling him Jerry and all this stuff, and I act like there's somebody in the room recording and telling me, like you got the wrong name, and I'm like, whatever, man.
I love it, man. Yeah, it was so funny because you started out all cheery, like, hey, it's me or whatever, Bobby, the Nintendo girl. I'm like, everybody else was so somber. Like, I'm just so sorry to see John pass. And then there's, hey, it's me. Oh, Jerry's. I'm like, oh, that actually worked really, really well. So, but anyway, I felt like I wasn't even going to do it. And then I did it. And then I felt bad about it. And then I get into the show and he's like, I'm really having a hard time with this 40 thing. And I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding. Because, of course, he wouldn't have heard any of this stuff. He wouldn't have known the joke was happening.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm sorry. So I reached out to him today. I'm like, I just hope you're in on the joke and you get the spirit in which it was tended.
Oh, he loves it.
But anyways, this was a giant shout out to
my shout out, and
that's it.
And we'll wrap it down. This 2 shout outs real quick. One is my guest from Nintendo Talk Live this past week, Rogers Base. Dude, that dude is amazing, man. I love him. Such a great chat. And then he enlightened me afterwards. We talked for about an hour afterwards, and he wasted 3 hours of his life on me. But we talked for about an hour off camera, and he kind of was like Yoda, man, and was just kind of like dodging me and ducking through, like showing me the way. And I'm so appreciative of that, man. Like, I can never thank him enough for that. The other shout out I want to give is to my next guest on Nintendo Talk Live, another pretty big YouTuber, Game Over Jesse. He does a lot of Zelda stuff. If you don't know his work, go check it out. Like, come on, who am I kidding? If you don't know his work, he's got like 40...
Actually, Bobby, you should probably check behind you.
Behind me,
you just dropped a name.
Whatever.
You just stop it.
Anyway, he's got like 45,000 subs, so he's got a lot of subs. So you guys, if you're not a subscriber, go check out his stuff. Like, he is really awesome. So that's where we're at. Now, let's jump into the show a little bit. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit, because earlier in the week, for those of you that listen to the Nintendo PlayStation podcast, and you heard me and Toby talk about how Sean was being a crybaby and was so mad at us for even insinuating that we were going to give him an SNES Classic, I messaged Chelsea on the side and I was like, hey, Chelsea, can I have your address? And she's like, no. And I'm like,
yeah, she hates you.
She's like, okay. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. I'm like, thanks. And then she's like, here you go. And but wise ass fashion, like, she puts like the numbers and the street address and the city and the country and then planet Earth.
Planet Earth.
I'm like, what is wrong with you?
Oh, that's my girl. I love that. We do that all the time. So and you just keep going, Bobby.
Yeah.
Solar system.
Yeah, exactly.
Milky Way.
Exactly.
Universe.
So anyway, she contacts me last night, right? And I'm actually recording a podcast, and I'm getting ready to meet up with Sean.
Shocking.
Yeah, I know. Imagine that, another podcast, Quest for Pixels. Go check it out. And I'm sitting there, and she messages me. And like, hey, I just want to let you know, like, I got Sean an SNES Classic, and I'm like, oh, Toby's supposed to mail this thing to Sean.
See, I told you it was going to work out.
And
Bobby.
I'm like, no, you didn't. You were Mr. Negative.
Yes,
Stop it. You were like, okay. I don't even want it no
just
more.
Hang on a
I don't
second.
even want it no more.
Look, I was upset because I wasted my time. That's what I was upset about. Is that I made 3 special attempts.
No, because you know what? No.
In my
because
cart.
Me and Toby offered it to you. You told Toby no.
And I don't want you guys to.
And then you gave me a hard time about it.
I don't want to be indebted like that.
Nobody's
going to
be indebted. I told you we were going to take it out of the Patreon fund. It would have been fine, man.
No, look,
it would have been good.
It was unnecessary.
You would have paid for it. Don't worry about it.
I don't
anyway,
like that. Look, I would never do that for you. That's the thing.
Wow.
Just remember that.
Really, really, you piece of garbage. What a piece of trash. Wow, you would not. Me and Toby.
I don't know
Toby
if I would. I
don't
know, Bobby.
Whatever, man. I see how it is. Anyway, the point is, Chelsea told me that she got it. It's okay because I messaged Toby right immediately and I was like, don't send it to Sean. Send it to me instead. So I bought it off Toby and I have it coming to the United States and it'll be here in probably a week or so.
It is cool that it's European.
That's why I wanted it. I wanted the different version. I kicked myself for not getting the Japanese NES one. I'll have to try to track that down.
Even Gary Gray was saying it would cost like $100,000 to ship.
It was $100, dude. It was no lie. It was $116 I paid with shipping. That was for the NES Classic and shipping. Shipping was $17.
Those are big expensive American dollars.
Shipping was $17. Well, yeah, in Canada it's like life support. That's ridiculous.
That's the price of that's a lot of money. That's a car payment.
Yeah. Anyway. I don't
want any. I appreciate the gesture. The thought is all that counts. Yeah. I appreciate it. I trust Reggie that there will be some. I just got a little frustrated that I went to Walmart online. That didn't work out. I went to Walmart in person. That didn't work out. And then I went to EB Games, who had like this mystery early launch time that they didn't talk about at all. They just said every store is opening at 10 a.m. So I went at 9 a.m. to be an hour early. And then they're like signs up everywhere saying, we're opening at 9. And I'm there last in line. And the guys are all just laughing at people trying to go up and get something if they don't have a pre-order. It's frustrating as hell, man. I thought I was...
Well, first off, your first mistake is why would you go at 9 o'clock if they open at 10?
Because it's in the mall. Like, it's in, like... It's not, like...
Mistake.
I think it would have been fine, dude.
I would have been there earlier than that. I'd have been at the mall entrance waiting.
Then I'd be even more pissed. If that's what's actually required is more than an hour before on first day, that's something to be upset about. You shouldn't be okay with that.
That's the power of Nintendo, baby. What do you mean to tell you?
That's something I think
that's what happens when you spend your life in Xbox land. You don't understand. When things aren't in demand, that's what happens. I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding.
I know.
I'm
not
just
buying
teasing.
into it
I'm
at
just
all.
teasing.
But Bobby, I think that plays into our topic, though.
Well, not the first topic, but I wanted to first, before we jump into our first topic, I wanted to kind of discuss impressions because we both have them now.
Yeah, I hate it.
And actually, you and I both were playing it at the same time last night on Skype. We both fired them up together, and we were playing.
Special moment.
Yeah, I was playing Mario World, and you were playing F1 or F-Zero. F-Zero. You picked the garbage game. I picked the great game. But
I'm not going to sit here and argue that F-Zero is better than Super Mario World.
Well, I would hope not. I would hope not.
Listen, when I fired it up and David Ray was in the chat, he's like, hey, man, play F-Zero. And I'm like, it's funny that you should say that because that was the first game I did fire up. I wanted to just jump in, have a quick little jaunt and something, Bobby.
I do need to acknowledge this because this has been bothering me for the past couple of weeks. Aaron Daughtry said it's SNES, not SNES. Let me explain something to you.
It's Super Nintendo.
You called it the NES. We called it the NES. And this was the SNES. Or the Super Nintendo. Not SNES. That is the dumbest name in the world. You Europeans need to get it together over there.
I love that this is a recent thing, Bobby.
It is.
Like,
me and Toby have always had this argument. But now because of the reissue of it, and because we have the internet and it's all this big thing, it's this huge thing. Even Donnie over at that Play Some PSVG nonsense, he's calling it SNES. Like I told him today, I'm like, you're not British, stop it. Like you're not in Europe, stop it. There you go. There you go. Joseph Moran, SNES or get out. Thank you. The exit's over that way. No, I'm just kidding. I love you. Don't leave. Anyway, so what's your impressions on the thing? Like,
well, this is my first classic, man, and I have it kind of set up just like you do. Just like we have our computers, so it's nice. I actually don't even. The cord is actually too long. Oddly enough.
Oh, really? Really? It is a little long. It is a little.
For this setup, it's a little long. But if I was at a TV, of course, this would be just laughable. But I love how simple it is to set up. I love that I powered by USB.
Yes,
so
that is amazing.
I've got all my cords just running into the back of my computer.
Yep.
And everything is super simple. I love it. I fire it up, and then just the menu. I don't know what it is about it. I'm not sure if there's any other way to do it, but it reminds me of Mario All-Stars a little bit. I just want to flip through. Like, I just want to keep going. I want to, like, browse a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think that's what, maybe when people talk about the Switch UI, that's what we're missing, is just, like, I just want to hang out and do stuff on it. But I do feel like that. So I think the UI is tremendous. It's super easy to do save states, which you are familiar with the Nintendo Classic Edition.
Yeah.
And the quality is just... It's top notch. And the controller is really what I got most excited.
The controller is amazing. Seriously. Like I said to Sean, I'm like, it's home, man. This is home. This is the greatest. To me, this is my favorite controller ever in video gaming. Just because I grew up with it and it was the first one with shoulder buttons. And the shoulder buttons just fit. Like, look at the contour, man. It's perfectly there. Like, it just works, you know? I love the purple buttons. I know people don't like them. I love the purple buttons.
I like it.
I love it all, man. I love the whole thing about it. And for me, I look at this and I go, this is what it's all about. I just love this thing. So for me, the controllers are number one. Like that's where we start off with this thing. But then, like you said, the UI, it is really beautiful. Like seriously, like it's just very seamless. The way it flows and all that. Like it's quality. Definitely quality. The Pixel Perfect dude, I need more of that in my life. Like, seriously. It just looks really good. I will say this.
Uh-oh.
Donkey Kong Country doesn't look that great.
What?
I mean, it's alright, but it just doesn't feel like it looks... I don't think Pixel Perfect does anything to help that game at all.
Let me see.
You know, because it's kind of like... It's kind of polygonal. It's kind of polygon type thing. So, that doesn't really help. You know, when you look at...
Okay.
When you look at, like... Pixel Perfect works because it basically smashes everything into perfect squares. But that game didn't have pixels to some degree. That was more rounded and like
yeah.
So it doesn't look as good as
it's actually kind of muddy, isn't it?
Yeah. I played it on the 3DS and it actually looks really good on the 3DS. Now that might be because it's a smaller screen.
Yeah,
and
it's
all
more,
that stuff.
Yeah.
So
interesting. Let me
so
see if I
that's
can go
that's
back.
my feel.
I like it. Yeah, the amount of games I told you before that I haven't played many of these games, but I actually didn't realize quite how many. So Earthbound I've never played, Final Fantasy 3, the Kirby games, who the hell cares? But I did have a good time with Dream Course, I have to say.
Okay.
Mega Man X I've dabbled in a little bit. I haven't played Secret of Mana. Star Fox I've played, of course. I'm not really looking forward to Star Fox 2. Street Fighter 2 Turbo everybody's played. Haven't done Castlevania. I don't even know what Super Ghouls and Ghosts is.
Ooh, that's a hard
I
game.
have played Mario Kart, not Super Mario RPG, Mario World, of course. Super Metroid, Bobby. I'm a rookie. I haven't done that.
Okay.
Super Punch-Out I've played. Link to the Past I fired up for the very first time. Yoshi's Island I played. Contra I played a little bit. But yeah, like this is like a huge package of gaming that like these are new to me.
Yeah.
So this is a different value to me than even the NES was. I think I played of the ones that were on NES. I would have played more of those games. Yeah. But there's a bunch of game here that I can just sink my teeth into, and it's a good thing, you know, because I've got nothing but time. There's nothing else to play.
Yeah.
This is what great timing. We should have more of this kind of stuff.
My thing is this. I feel like I've played everything except for Star Fox. Star Fox and the Kirby games. They're the only things I haven't played on this thing. Everything else I've played at some point in my life or another. Growing up, majority of the stuff that's on there I played. Whether I beat it or I continued through, totally different thing. Super Mario RPG and Earthbound both came at the tail end of the SNES. Right. So for me, it wasn't... I played it, but I didn't play it. Earthbound, I went back when I got the Wii U. When it launched on the Wii U, I went back, I played it, I beat it, I loved it. I fell in love with that game. I do want to spend some time on Super Mario RPG. I do want to beat Link to the Past again. I do want to beat Super Mario World again. Like, I want to beat all the... Metroid I probably won't play at all. It's probably my favorite Metroid. I just don't have the time to go in and die. I would rather play Samus Returns on my 3DS than to play that version. If I'm going to play a Metroid, that's the one I want to focus on, not this one. If you had to grade this thing, 1 to 10, what would you give it?
1 to 10, are there 0.5s?
Yeah, that's fine, whatever.
I think I got to go... I think 8.5.
Yeah. I think I'm there with you.
The controller cords, even though it works for this setup, are still too short. And as well, they missed the opportunity for that home button. Yeah. They should have had something on there. And I think I'm going to hold it against it. The fact that I can't add anything more to it.
Well, okay, first off, you don't need a home button when the reset button's right there next to you.
Yeah, but if I want longer cords, obviously I want to sit further away from this thing, which means I don't want to...
You know, yeah, it's there.
Those are things that I hold against it a little bit. Okay. Like it's close to an 8.5 or 9 kind of thing. Yeah. Like I'm not talking. It's not this is awesome.
So,
how about you?
I would say 8.5. Seriously, I think that's a good score. I think it's fair. There's a couple of games on there that I wouldn't have put on there.
What do you take off immediately? Have we talked about this?
For me, take off immediately. Star Fox 2. Star Fox probably. I would probably leave Star Fox on there. I feel like Star Fox 2 is like a throwaway. It's not that great of a game.
You know what though? That's a headline though.
That's all it was. That's all it was. And you know what? And honestly, I wouldn't take anything away. And we'll get into this in a second when we get to our topic. I wouldn't take anything away. I would keep it all there because they're all poignant, great games over time. For that. But let's jump into the topic.
All right, man.
If we ran Nintendo, would we have charged the same amount of money that Nintendo charged for this? So in the United States, it retailed for $80.
Yep.
You guys paid $100 in Canada?
That's right.
Okay, and I think Toby paid 60 in England, if I'm not mistaken. 60 or 70.
Really?
Somewhere,
Wow, okay.
Somewhere in that area.
Sure. So we'll go just off the U.S. number.
Okay, so we'll go with the U.S., which is $80.
Yeah.
Here's what I think. I would have charged for what they gave us. I would have charged 80.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have gave us this. I would have expanded it by at least 10 games, maybe 20 games, and charged more money for it. I feel like when I think about it, like the 20 games is just not enough. There's not enough for me. The 20 now look the value's there obviously because of the fact that like when you buy these games like on a virtual console, they're much more expensive. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like they're $7 a piece. We basically got them for what, $4 a piece?
I can't do math that quickly.
Well, it's 20 games, right? Overall, is it 20 or 21?
21.
Okay,
but yeah, you're right. Yeah,
so about $4 or $5, whatever. Regardless, so the value's there. You know what I mean?
I didn't just open up my calculator.
So with that situation, I look at it and go like, okay, the money value is definitely there for what they typically charge for these games. Plus, you're getting this amazing controller times 2. You know what I mean? So for me, I get it. I totally get it, and I'm fine with that. I mean, I would have preferred for the NES, they would have charged us another $10 and just packed in another controller and gave the 2 controllers.
Totally.
Street,
yeah,
know what I mean?
Exactly.
Because I feel like that's the other thing. In this version, I don't feel like the 2-player games are in abundance. I feel like this is more single player. Why do I have
a second controller?
I mean, you obviously have Mario Kart, and you need a second controller for that. And then you can play 2-player in Super Mario World. You can play 2-player in Donkey Kong Country. Mm-hmm. But that's about it. There's really not much, in a way, F-Zero. But there's
What's
not.
the second player in Final Fantasy?
Is there a second player in Final Fantasy? Secret of Mana, I think, has a second player.
Apparently, same thing with Secret. Those are games I definitely would.
Final Fantasy, I didn't think had a second player. Secret of Mana, I believe, does. Secret of Mana is similar to, I believe, Chrono Trigger in that way. But here's the thing: like I look at this and I go, do I really? Regardless, okay, you got the second controller, whatever, it's fine. It's the pack-in. The value I feel is there, definitely. But for me, again,
so that actually drives the cost per game down even further.
Yes,
the fact that there's a second controller in there, and I think that the thing that really kind of tied Nintendo's hands a little bit was the price of the first one. Like there sort of was this perceived limit of how much more they could charge for this one, because I actually posed this question to you, and it's out of a supply-demand kind of function where. Mm-hmm. Would the supply of these things not been so limited had they charged $100, $120 for the exact same thing?
The thing
and that's kind of what I'm is like trying to match up how much people are willing to pay with having as many pieces of how many units that they have to sell.
I probably
I charge more for this thing.
So here's the question: let's go as a consumer basis. Okay, what would you pay and still pay for it?
Yeah. And that's what they try. That's what they try to explore. I think I still would have paid. I probably would have paid $120 to be honest, and I would have looked at that second controller and went like, well, that's great value.
Well, for you, okay. So let's put that in the context. For you, that's $20 more.
Come back to US.
Okay.
I would have gone up to $100 even, $99.99 US dollars.
See, I would go $120, which is $40 more than they charged. But here's the thing. I would not have paid $120 for this one. If you I'm wrong. I'm sorry. So if I'm talking about this one in particular,
this very one,
I probably would have went $100.
Yep,
and been okay with that. I think $100 is probably a reasonable price. But at the same time, I don't think. The value's there for
NES
more.
Last year for $60,
mm-hmm.
you wouldn't like just if that's taken out of the equation. Do you look at $100 for this and go like out of the question, or do you go? I don't think you do.
I knew it.
Like I feel like that helps out the impulse purchases that are happening. It sort of weeds out a few of the people. I'm not necessarily saying that that's a good thing, but it is like an interesting kind of marketing exercise.
I think my issue is this though, Sean. Okay, so this is $80, right?
Yeah.
So then what are they going to... And $80 with 21 games. right?
Mm-hmm.
And then when you look at the NES was $60 for 30 games, right? That to me was the much better value.
Well, and part of this topic could be, would we have charged more for that one? And I think definitely they should have charged more. For the NES.
I think they should have charged more. Like I said, I would have packed the second controller into it, and I would have charged more. And I think they might have realized, like, hey, we could probably get more. But my thing that what worries me is the N64 Classic is definitely coming. We'll probably get it.
So?
Oh, without a doubt. They've already patented the controller, man. They patented the controller and they patented the Game Boy, which leads people to think they're going to do a Game Boy Classic and they're going to do an N64 Classic. This Classic's lines...
Game Boy Classic would be unbelievable.
Yeah, I agree. If they did the big gray brick, like, oh, sign me
Have
up.
we done that topic yet? Can we do that next week?
We could do that next week. Yeah, let's do it next week. We'll do the Game Boy
Classic Edition.
Game Boy Classic Edition.
You think like it comes with a screen and everything too? Like, is it like it's a Game Boy?
It's a Game Boy. I think they would upgrade. I think they would have to upgrade the screen or whatever.
No, it comes with all the add-ons. It comes with the magnifying
glass and stuff.
And everything.
No backlighting
Dude, that would
and stuff.
Be awesome.
That would be
the speakers.
Awesome.
The printer. Can you get the printer?
Yeah.
That?
So I look at this and I go, again, I feel like they shortchanged this thing. They should have added another 10, 20 games easily, man, easily. And if this would have had, what's that?
If they add, like, are there another 10 games that are Super Mario World, Super Metroid, A Link to the Past, even Street Fighter 2 Turbo Edition? Like, are they that caliber?
I would put,
like, these are the best of the best.
Listen, they're not the best of the best. Chrono Trigger's missing.
ActRaiser
is missing. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is missing. Tecmo Bowl is missing. You could. I mean,
I'm not saying it's not. I'm just.
I'm just saying, like, there are some phenomenal games that are not in this machine. Yep. You know, I would even go as far as to say, like, Super Mario All-Stars. That would have been the one I would have put in there. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many. Like, you could have put Final Fantasy 2. You know, Final Fantasy 2 is, some argue it's probably as good, if not better, than Final Fantasy 3. As far as, like, Capcom games, you have Final Fight. That should have been put in there. Like, there's a lot, dude.
Maximum Carnage.
Yes, dude. No, the
Squadron.
The SNES.
I mean, we've done this. We did
this already.
All I wanted to bring up was that, like, the effort with this one was that the concentration of awesomeness was like maximum, right? Yeah. So as soon as you go any more games, you have to have that into consideration as well. And I think you could safely go to 30. Yeah. And still not dilute the quality of games at all. Yeah. So I just wanted to...
But I think for me, I look at it and I go, I would have upped the games. Because if they would... Okay, so here's the thing. For me personally, if they upped the games, if they put another 10 to 20 games in this thing, I would have easily given them another $40. I would have easily paid $120 for this thing and wouldn't even have blinked an eye at it.
And this is a system to do it too. Like, nobody... I don't think there's really an argument to be said, you know what, on the N64 Classic, they should go back to 30 or more.
They could do 10 games on N64 Classic, and it's probably all the best games.
That's kind of my point. Yeah, exactly.
There wasn't a lot of great... Like, the problem is they're not going to be able to go back to the N64 and do a lot, because a lot of the best games are gone. Mm-hmm. They're with Rare. You know what I mean? Like, Banjo-Kazooie, they could do Donkey Kong 64. They might be able to do Diddy Kong Racing. I don't know, because I'm sure
Microsoft would work with them on that. But I don't know if Nintendo would be willing to give up the cut.
Maybe, but the thing of it is this. Here's the issue with. I think this is why, and it just hit me the other day. I think the reason why we've never seen Diddy Kong Racing is because Rare owns the Kremlins.
Oh, really?
And I think the Kremlins, like King K. Rool,
haven't seen them since then.
Never. And it hit me the other day. I heard it somewhere, and I don't know where I heard it, on a podcast. Somebody said something. It might have been NVC. Pear might have said it. And when it hit, I was like, that's why. They created the Kremlins, and they own the Kremlins, and they've never been on anything since. I don't think they were in Donkey Kong Country 64. I don't believe. I could be wrong. But Nintendo could have worked a deal with them, because that game didn't come till just recently. So Nintendo could have worked a deal with them and be like, hey, can we do, something. And I agree, like Joey just said, Microsoft is definitely willing if it brings a good look back to them. Absolutely. I think that they will look at this and go like, they're already playing together. Like, if anything, if they can continue that relationship, I think Microsoft is on board for continuing that relationship. Like, you look Minecraft, they're doing the whole cross-play thing. I think you'll definitely see them do something together, no doubt about it. So for me, that's my answer to this, is I would not, for what we got, I would not charge more money at all for this. This would have been the price I would have charged.
If it's me, then we disagree on this, especially if we ran Nintendo. I'm looking to maximize profit and revenue generation. I'm looking at more. I feel like we sell the exact same number of consoles at $20 more. So that's just...
Well, that's the thing. If I ran Nintendo, I would pump this with 10 to 20 more games and then sell it for $40 extra. And I guarantee you,
a lot of different opportunities.
I guarantee you that if they would have pumped this up with more games, they would have sold a lot more. Because here's the thing: this thing is already hacked. This was hacked before it even launched. It was ready to go.
The thing is, they can't make it anymore. That's the other part that comes in the equation too. Like you can have price kind of set the limit on how many you need to worry about creating, because you're not going to sell anymore because there's a cap on what people are willing to pay. Yeah. And I don't think that the number of games like per dollar, I don't think people do that math. I think they just go, what kind of cash I've got in my pocket, and I think the limit is just double digits. Yeah, I think you go up to $99.99 and you're still good.
And can I just say this? Because there's this whole community, right? That's just like, I don't need that because I could buy the SNES Classic. I could buy a regular SNES and all the games, and I'd be happy. Dollar for dollar, you can't do it. So stop your nonsense. Yeah. Earthbound alone is a $60, $70 game. Final Fantasy III, $40, $50. So stop that nonsense. Like, please go away. And here's the other thing: you can't hook it to an HD TV, so you're done. It's over. Like, that argument just goes out the door in my eyes. I don't see how people can say that.
I'm with you.
Okay, so next topic.
Did you hear that?
What?
Like a bookshelf fell over upstairs. Oh, that was happening. Hopefully everything's fine.
Sure everything's fine. Maybe Lincoln's trying to take your wife out. Who knows?
Yeah, he's gonna just.
You're keeping me from saving the world.
I imagine Lincoln like just learning karate. All of a sudden, he's jumping around like little Yoda. He's just like this 2-foot tall little ninja. That would be awesome. He'd be like, hop, yeah.
Okay, so.
Name's Lincoln.
I got you. I got it. Okay. So if we ran Nintendo, I got the joke.
Another topic.
Would we dive into the virtual reality? Would we go VR? Would we start investing in VR? How would we handle this? I feel, and I could be wrong, I feel like virtual consoles kind of going away. And I could be wrong. It feels like the hype isn't there like it was.
Wait a minute. What are we talking about? Virtual console or virtual reality?
I'm sorry, virtual reality. My bad.
Oh, no, that's all right.
I had the two mixed up. My bad. Virtual reality.
For a second? Okay.
Yeah, for VR, I don't feel like the hype is there like it was a year ago. I felt like the hype levels were through the roof before Sony launched, and even right after Sony launched. But I don't think it's there at all. I feel like it's kind of going by the wayside. I think maybe it gets momentum again whenever Bethesda launches their VR games. I think if and when that happens, then the tide might start to change. Right now, we have basically tech demos, and that's not what anybody wants. Now, Nintendo is doing a VR Mario Kart in Japan right now. Arcades are still big in Japan, and they are actually doing a virtual reality Mario Kart, which, by the way, looks unbelievable. Seriously. Like, you have these things you strap on your wrists, so when you hold up, you can hold up the green shell, you can throw it. Like, when you pull up in your car, you look over in Mario Center, you can wave to him, and he'll wave back to you and stuff. Like, it's pretty awesome. You know what I mean? But I don't feel like... I feel like once the Resident Evil hit, it died after that. Like, that was the game, and then it just fell apart after that. So for me personally, if I'm Nintendo, I look at this and I go, man, we are killing it with the Switch. We've got no business getting in VR. I look at Sony. I don't even think Sony really wants to be in VR anymore. if I'm being honest.
Here's the problem with Sony, and this is just a little like playing. This is called playing to your base, Bobby. We got a bunch of Nintendo fans in here.
Mm-hmm.
Sony doesn't have what it takes to introduce how to use this new technology.
Yeah.
They don't have the ingenuity, they don't have the creativity, and they don't have the commitment to make VR a thing. They couldn't make Universal Video Disc or Media Disc, whatever, a thing. They basically just won with Blu-ray because it sounded cool. They couldn't make beta a thing. They can't make formats and technology. They fail more than they succeed, I think. If anybody's going to do it, the reason I want to bring this up is because I suggest that if anybody's going to do it, it's Nintendo, and it's because of their focus on design, and it's because of their library of games. They could just take like 6 franchises that you haven't seen a little while, maybe Metroid being one of them, and they go, the only place to play this game is on virtual reality, and here it is.
Wow.
And it's fun for the entire family. Like these, and it was that Mario Kart thing that like made me think of this, going, they have the vault, everything that you need to make gaming.
It's not even that. It's not even that. It's the fact that they make games.
That you
Sony
need the game.
Doesn't make games.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yes, you have Naughty Dog, you have Insomnia or whatever. They have all these different studios, right? But they bought those studios. Those studios weren't brought in by them and were like, hey, make these games. You know what I mean? Like Nintendo made games and they've acquired studios later on, but ultimately like it's them making. So if they did do this, they could basically say like, here we go, here's what we have, and then now we're going to develop games for it. It's like the 3DS. They
like
develop
Apple.
games for the 3DS.
Exactly.
Regardless whether you like the Wii U and what it did and all that stuff, like they develop games for the Wii U. Eventually,
I think stick to the 3DS and the DS example. I think is a bang on example of why you have a company that does both hardware and software and just shows that's what it's going to take.
Yeah.
You need somebody who does both and does hardware in a way that's totally different from everybody else. In my mind, they're the only company that does it because everybody else is going to be looking to somebody else to prove it's the exact same reason that the Wii U actually failed was because Nintendo themselves didn't even say, this is why this gamepad exists. Yeah. And I think they could take their time. I think they could invest in VR and be the ones to finally crack this nut and say, guys, we figured it out and everybody's going to do it the Nintendo way.
Man, the way
just like they did all the motion controls,
Now
dude. And that's the thing. Like I bring this up as VR is in a very weird place right now. Everybody's kind of like writing it off and everything, going like, well, that was fun. And a lot of people will say that they expected this sort of thing to happen. I think this is something with a lot of cash in the bank. And, you could invest in this with the sale of the Mariners. Like, I don't know exactly how. I'm sure you couldn't.
Well,
like,
the thing
there's
of
probably
it is
billions of dollars.
Well, let's be fair.
Pokemon in VR.
They're already working on it. Like they've already shown off. Like they've already patented the headset stuff. I will say this: the only way, me personally, goes into the gimmick that they're talking about, where basically that screen sits here in a helmet and you play with the Joy-Cons. They have it set up. It is the perfect thing.
That's an interesting thing too.
But the only way I do it,
Rybo says he doesn't think the Tegra could power it.
Well,
and I'm not sure that I'm not necessarily talking about the Switch being the screen, but that could be.
It can in the future.
Yeah.
With future iterations. I'm not putting that 720 screen that close to my eyes. Not going to happen. If they can get that to 1080 or a little bit better, 4K, then we'll talk. Then I don't have a problem putting it in front of my face.
And guess what games are on that thing?
I know.
And that's a much more compelling case.
Like if you're telling me that I could play Breath of the Wild in virtual reality,
that's what I'm saying.
I might go down that rabbit hole.
And now with their partnership with Bethesda, and they are keenly interested in VR, that could be a really cool kind of solution that those guys could come up with. I'm telling you, man. Like Nintendo was the one who figured out how to give you a console on the go.
Yeah.
They can be the ones to figure out virtual reality.
Yeah. And
that would just be crazy if like you and I grew up and it was like when somebody was talking about playing video games, you'd say, "Are you playing Nintendo?"
Yeah. Absolutely.
It could be you got virtual reality on. Oh, you're playing Nintendo.
Yeah, my mom still says it to me. My mom still says it, no matter what I play. Like I think last year Tony bought me some Sony games. My mom was like, "Oh, did you get some Nintendo games?"
Yeah, exactly.
Just
Those
like,
are video games.
yeah.
It's synonymous
Yeah.
with video games. I'm telling you, man, could be, they could really just be in this deep, dark in the mountains of Japan. They've got this laboratory, and Reggie goes and visits there every once in a while.
Man,
He types in the
if you tell me that I could play Animal Crossing in VR,
just walk around a town.
walk around a town with
Dude,
my lord,
it'll be ready for retirement. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, like it's in the works right now. It's ready for us to retire, and all we do is we'll be like Wally. We'll just.
I told Tony that one time. I'm like, when I hit about 60 years old, which isn't that far off from me. I'm closer to 60 than I am the other way. So I was like, when I hit 60, just put me in a retirement home, and I'm like, just give me like the updated console and just pump like $20 a week into my debit card so I can buy a bunch of games, and I'll happily just sit in a retirement home, have some nurse like come in and feed me and like, whatever. And
You're not kidding, man.
And I'll just play video games all day. I'll smell.
I'm with you. That is the
I
dream.
won't take a shower ever. I'll just lay there.
It hurts a little after though if you don't shower.
That's true.
Is that what bed sores are? Is that a thing? Like when you don't. I
don't think bed sores are not from lack of bath. Bed sores are from just laying in the same spot all the time.
It's actually just the pressure points.
Yeah. I mean, I would get up and move around a little bit. I mean, I always have like Wii Fit that I could play or Wii Bowling.
I love the way you put that. I mean, I'd move around a little bit.
Yeah, like this. All right, I'm good to go.
Well, man, I gotta tell you, I'm pumped about Nintendo VR.
You know what? As you said it, you kind of did what you do, and you kind of talked me into it. Like I think I would.
You just snap and it's on your face.
Yeah, man. I think I would invest. I think I would. I think that Nintendo should find a way to turn that into VR.
Yep.
Don't invest into a whole head unit, because here's the other thing that really I hate PlayStation VR because you got these wires coming all over you. And the idea of VR is you're supposed to be able to turn around, and like if I'm playing Resident Evil and something's coming behind me, if I turn around to see, I can get caught up in the VR and fall down. I don't want that. You know what I mean? Like with this, if it's the wireless unit and that goes in front of you, right, and then you have, dude, yeah, man.
I would argue they're further ahead.
They probably are. Honestly, they probably are. If anything, I mean, they have a great partnership with NVIDIA, and I mean it's a 20-year partnership. I can totally see this coming.
That'd be crazy. That would be so crazy. Yeah. I don't know enough about the VR race to really talk about any like the specifics, but I feel like it's entirely possible that everybody's chasing after the wrong thing. Mm-hmm. That it's a lot of like technology, but this thing has to have games that are interesting for people, and it has to be convenient.
I think honestly, that's what is lacking in VR is the Nintendo. Because think about it.
It'll be Nintendo or Disney who figures this out.
Well, Disney's basically walked away from it all. They're not messing with video games anymore. That's all done.
Yeah.
But the thing of it is like you look at
that magic factor is all I'm saying.
So you look at Nintendo, right? And the thing of it is what I think back to is everybody did 8-bit games, right? 8-bit, 16-bit games. They were the first one to go into like 3D, meaning like open world type stuff, like realistic, like Mario, Zelda, and then everybody followed suit. Like Tomb Raider grabbed that. Like all these games started grabbing that style and going, okay, this is the future. It's just what they do. They just have this knack about them to make it better. They just know what they're doing. So that's what's you're absolutely right. That's what's missing. Like if they, and let's be honest, man, they were 20 years ago they were trying to jump into VR with the Virtual Boy, and it obviously bombed because that wasn't true VR either. That was 3D. If I can, be so bold to say they were basically going into the 3D realm with this head unit on your face. So yeah, man, I think, but I think honestly, that's the key. Like I'm answering Jesse Sackin. Like Jesse Sackin said, Nintendo might be too cartoonish. VR seems to be more realistic. That's because that's all you're being shown. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's what you need. You need to be able to jump into a cartoony world and to like really fully immerse yourself in and have a good time with it. Like I think that's what's turning me off of VR.
You need an entry point.
Yeah, it just feels too serious when you're playing VR right now. And I don't want to be feeling serious. Like even all of Sony's games, like the tech demos that they're doing, like you're dropping into this water and you're going underwater and there's sharks coming at you and all stuff like, dude, I just want to have a good time. I want to have fun. And if you're telling me I can play Mario Kart in VR, like, dude, sign me up. all day long.
This is definitely like an elitist product right now, and Nintendo is great at making something that used to be a luxury item. This is like, well, everybody should have this. They create things that are premium products, and they make it household names.
Yeah,
sign me up.
Like Pikmin VR, right there. Dude, you're walking around in the world and everything's oversized.
Oh my gosh.
That would be awesome.
That's so amazing.
Dude, they could do so much stuff, man. It would be amazing.
That's a great example of what I was saying before of like this is not one of like the top 5 maybe of the franchises that you think of.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the 5th one.
Yeah.
But yeah, like not Mario, not Link, like they can have those continue to sell their main things. But have something that's really intriguing be the lead for VR, because that's what it takes. And so if I ran Nintendo, absolutely.
And they would put Miyamoto right. They would put Miyamoto front and center with this and go and I got news for you. I think he would knock it out the park because he's got that mind.
Yep, he's a genius.
He's out there. He's on a whole
They'll
different
do it.
level.
Mark my words. The TP Splatfest happened. Yeah. Nintendo VR 2019.
So that is all. Thank you guys
for
listening to us on iTunes, dayspace.com, Google Play. We're on Stitcher. We're on Acast. We're all over the place. Checking us out on the YouTube channel where you're watching it now if you're watching it live. Thank you for joining us here live. Please follow the show If We Ran Nintendo on Twitter. Follow Sean Capri, Sean like Connery, Capri like the pants. I am the Nintendo Guru at Nintendo.
Did you just like run out of gas?
No, why?
You're just like, follow me, Sean like Connery, Capri.
Just let it go, man. Let it go. Let me finish this. Let me wrap this up. You're gonna extend me longer than I want to be. Anyway, that is all. Peace out, Preston.
Bye, Preston. Bye, guys.